Hi everybody, day 5 of my testimonies. I want to talk about meeting my sweetheart Sylvia. First day of college, I came into the cafeteria and I got my food, and I saw a bunch of women at a table with one chair available. So I thought, wow, my lucky day. And I went and sat down, and I was excited to meet all these pretty girls. And Sylvia was on my right, and I don't even really remember who was at the other table because I didn't marry them. Sylvia is very inquisitive, and so she asked me a lot of different questions, and I was eating and answering her questions, and then there was some little misunderstanding about something, and I realized that she was offended, and I had kind of blown it with this girl that I thought I could maybe start something with. So I finished my meal and I left the table in embarrassment, and later Sylvia told her friend Virginia that she would never talk to that Bob Ewert again. About 2 weeks later, I was watching TV in the common lounge, and Sylvia's there, and we started talking again. And this time it was better. It was more relaxed, and so we started being friends again. At that time, there was another girl named Laura who was interested in me, and she started talking to me, and I got distracted, and a couple of weeks went by, and then one night Sylvia came into the common lounge, and she was trying to organize a trip to go for coffee. She kept asking people to go for coffee, and I was watching a TV show with Laura, and I wasn't really interested. And she persisted in inviting specifically me to go on this coffee outing. And so finally I said to Laura, well, let's just go for coffee. And most of our students, none of us had cars, but a couple. And so we were at the mercy of whoever had a car to take us to coffee. And Sylvia was organizing, and she's always been very administrative, and she invited me to get in this one car, and so I got in the car assuming that Laura would be sitting beside me, but Sylvia apparently had different ideas. I didn't know at that time that she liked me until this night. And Sylvia put Laura in a different car, and then she hops in beside me, and we went for coffee. So I ended up sitting with Sylvia at the coffee shop, and Laura was at the table beside us, and everybody was having fun, joking around, having coffee cake and coffee and just relaxing. And then Sylvia gets this great idea, since it was summertime, to walk home from the coffee shop to the campus, which was about probably 3 or 4 miles. But we were all in our 20s, and we're like, why not? And so there was about 12 of us walking back to campus. The people had cars. They obviously had to drive back, and some people didn't want to walk. So Sylvia and I ended up, coincidentally, walking together at the back of the pack of 12 people. And Laura, I remember her distinctly being in front of us, and I'm thinking, I really like Sylvia more than Laura. I got to figure out how to get away from Laura. And we were walking past this park, and it was well known to have this amazing flower garden, and I've always loved flowers, and I thought that would be romantic to get Sylvia into the flower garden. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and so it was getting dark, and so I said to Sylvia, do you want to take off into the park? And she said yes, and we grabbed hands and we ran away from everybody else. Didn't say anything, we just took off. And it was dark enough that we were able to hide out from everybody else. And we had a really fun time, and I may have got my first kiss that night. And the next day, Sylvia told Virginia that I really was a nice guy, and she should not worry about her because she was going to start being more friendly with that Bob Ewert. And so the next day, I'm just assuming, like, she's my girlfriend, right? So I grabbed my food platter in the cafeteria, and Sylvia and I were in line together. So I thought, it's only natural we're going to eat together. And she puts her platter down, and I put my platter down, and I sat down, and Sylvia gets back up, and she goes to a different table. Apparently, women think they need to test to see if the guy really likes them. So I am embarrassed. I stand up and grab my platter and go to another table and sit down with her. And I'm like, okay, let's just eat, okay? We're here to eat. And she, one more time, gets up and moves to a third table. I'm like, holy cow, what's she doing? But I get up and I go to the third table. And then this guy named Henry, he goes and sits down at the end of the table. So Sylvia's on one side and I'm on the other side. And Henry is a talker and he dominates the conversation. And I'm like really frustrated. Why did she do this? We could have just had a nice supper together. And so I finished my meal and I left and kind of thinking I lost again. And so later she told me she wanted to see if I would really follow her. The next night, a guy named Henry was eating supper with Sylvia when I got into the cafeteria, so I was late, and so I missed out again. And then the third night, it was Friday, and Friday's date night, right, for a lot of people. And Sylvia invited me to go to a music show, and I'm like, good, finally, we're going to have a date by ourselves. And she shows up at the car, and she's got her friend Crystal with her. I'm like, what the heck? And I just had to smile and grin and bear it. So the three of us went and watched a musical. So another week goes by, and this time I think, I'm taking the initiative. I borrowed a car from a friend and asked Sylvia if I could take her out to eat. And we had our first alone date finally. And I guess you could say the rest is history. And I just want to encourage you that God has a way of putting people together. I just want to encourage you to believe that God loves you, and that I just want to wish you a great day.